Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die, they stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for support if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
On centralized exchanges and very much move into enabling them and empowering them to become their own market makers in a very much an automated fashion. So I think that I think will help build liquidity into the privacy ecosystem, and I think that will help build collaboration in the privacy ecosystem, and I think that will build confidence and encourage growth within the privacy ecosystem. And that's certainly things that we are looking to achieve, and that is very much what's driving our adoption of Litecoin, particularly Litecoin Mimblewimble. We have a lot of respect for you guys.
Yeah, and it's mutual. It's been a long road for Litecoin in general, but particularly for the development team that's worked on MWeb and the processes that we've had to go through and really bringing this to the stage it's at. And everyone should know that MWeb is live on Litecoin Core, and you're able to make these MWeb optional transactions at the moment. The next step has really been to make sure that we have accessibility to wallets. And that process is a little bit more complicated, but it's something David Burkett and the team has really wanted to make sure is absolutely flawless and perfect, so that when MWeb becomes accessible to various wallets, that it works, and it works well. So you guys are really on the cutting edge here of being one of the the first entities to not only just recognize MWeb, which a lot have already done, but to actually start working and on the implementation side of things. So I give you guys a lot of credit as well.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I really kind of look forward to what we're going to be doing as we move forward. I really look forward to the advancements within Litecoin and within basic swap DEX, and I really look forward to working with you and the other teams that we support and really helping to bring them together, because I see a real vision for the privacy ecosystem moving forward. I call it the privacy liquidity sphere. I see it as a huge undertapped and much wanted area amongst not just users of cryptocurrency, but just users of regular commerce, and that feeds back into e-commerce as well. The number of people I talk to who wish they didn't have to be reliant on systems where they have to entrust personal data to third parties, which eventually leak into the hands of bad actors, which can then be used against. Without sort of dwelling on that too much, I respect systems that can move us towards a much more purist form of privacy. Certainly going back to MWeb, the thing that I really love is hiding the receivers, the senders, and the amounts from third parties, and then integrating that into a DEX ecosystem that's designed to prevent metadata leak, that is designed to, it makes a lot of the, a lot of what we're doing, one of the features that I sort of touched on earlier was scriptless scripts. Our implementation of scriptless scripts uses a technology called adapter signatures. I won't go into too much detail about that, but what it fundamentally enables, and going back on what I said earlier, is it's the ability for a coin that lacks programmable outputs to be involved in atomic swaps with a coin that does. In doing so, and having these having these swaps occurring on this sort of end-to-end encrypted data layer, or SMSG sort of data layer, which prevents metadata leak and really obfuscates the act of a swap from a third party. So it provides a really high level of privacy to those who want it, who need it, and that's a lot of legitimate people out there in the world today, and I certainly look at that from an enterprise R&D perspective.
Absolutely. So we posted the announcement that that you guys have made. So it's now live. It's at the top of this this space. If everybody wants to read more about the specifics of what's happening here with this announcement, and obviously this is kind of the level that the Litecoin development team is playing on, and obviously the level that that you guys have are playing on. We're really trying to revolutionize the future of digital currencies and the way that people can openly and privately uh, uh, transact, whether that's in payments, whether that's in peer-to-peer, and of course now with this atomic swap initiative, which is right at the heart of what a lot of us believe in, and that the future of digital currencies and obviously this cryptocurrency revolution is moving towards. Alan, did you want to talk a little bit more about this announcement or the summit or MWeb in general?
No, I mean I think we sort of covered it. We talk about how things might be moving slow. I don't know. I would maybe agree, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing either. Rolling out something slower and doing it right. It takes time to create light client and other things that people adopt, and also just the whole idea of privacy is still something sort of new, because when I think of Bitcoin, the far majority of people look at it as a store of value, and I think when you're keeping something as a store of value, it starts to become more important, and it's going to take some time for that. But I think over time, we're going to see how having this optional opt-in level of privacy for when you need that is going to continue to become more and more important as cryptocurrency in general grows, and as the use of crypto grows, in terms of payments and sending between people and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are, we have invited Dr. Cap to speak at the Litecoin Summit, as Alan mentioned, which will take place in July in Nashville. So we invite everybody from it doesn't necessarily have to be from the Litecoin community. Tickets are $84. We're putting on this event because we want everyone that's interested in the future of this space to be able to join in. There's a lot of events out there where it's 3-4 figure kind of pricing to go to these events, and it's very inclusive, and there's a VIP option for some ridiculous price. We're not doing that. We're doing an event where we want everyone that's interested in this space, that wants to be a part of either the Litecoin ecosystem or any kind of cryptocurrency future that they envision, to become and be part of the conversation. So we're really proud. This will be the 4th summit that we've put on. Last year we took a little bit of an evolution in a different direction by putting on a proof of work summit, which we did in collaboration with ETC and a lot of other partners. And so this is the reemergence of the Litecoin Summit, and go to litecoin.net and check it out. We just announced our first round of speakers, and if you'd like to get more involved in the summit in some way, you can reach out to the Litecoin Foundation. There's obviously different ways that you can contact us or contact myself or Alan.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm really looking forward to Nashville, Tennessee. I know we're doing a Twitter X space today, but I really look forward to hopefully being able to give more live demonstrations of our ecosystem and the Litecoin ecosystem being used in our ecosystem, and how perhaps getting that opportunity to talk out and more visually lay out our plans to sort of help advance the cause of e-commerce adoption and privacy within the Litecoin ecosystem. As I said, we think it's an excellent currency. You know, I joke internally. I joke internally. My crypto wife says she loves Bitcoin, but she's always doing Litecoin behind his back. That's certainly true when it comes to me. I certainly have a preference towards using Litecoin for a lot of a lot of core transactions. I think it has very nice liquidity, very nice speed, and I really, really like the fact that they are embracing privacy, or well, optional privacy. I think that is a very pragmatic decision, and I look forward to sort of talking about how our roads intersect as projects.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because that seems to be a worldwide. I don't want to say phenomenon because it's not a phenomenon. It's a worldwide. Uh, uh, I don't know what word to call it, but Litecoin is really taking its place more and more. Not only as we've seen in the end of 2023 as one of the most active blockchains in the world, but on certain days has performed more transactions than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. So Litecoin is playing at a different level uh, in the transactions world, in what is being built in the Litecoin ecosystem, and also uh, in the payments world, real usage. Um, Alan, did you want to talk a little bit more about payments and how Litecoin's leading the way there?
Yeah, I don't want to get too. I'll be not to get too far off of the specific topic here, but yeah, it's important from the fact that at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, whatever you're building on top of a blockchain, it's important that you're building on top of a blockchain that's going to be around, that's continuing to grow, and has the properties of I'd say fairly launched decentralization type properties that can be carried by the community, because you never want to be relying on a small handful of people, or a central type of central type of organization that can make decisions, and you never know what might happen later. One thing, just briefly, we're really excited and encouraged by is the growth of payments on Litecoin. For those that don't know, BitPay is believe it's the largest crypto payments processor out there. And since Litecoin was added, I think 2.5 years ago, it's continued to grow. Where now, quite often, as they report each month, Litecoin is, in fact, the last reporting, Litecoin is the most used cryptocurrency for payments, even above Bitcoin, and even more combined than Ethereum, Dogecoin, and I think every other coin on the platform combined. So why is this important? Is because this is real world use. These are actual payments. These are people buying things and spending money. So when we talk about what could be possible, and we talk about what actually is happening, Litecoin is actually being used. And the idea that it's actually being used more for payments than even Bitcoin is very encouraging. And this is something that we like to see as one of the most important elements of crypto, is being able to use it and spend it. And we're continuing to push for adoption, helping to onboard merchants, and see Litecoin continue to be used more and more, throughout the world as we grow.
Yeah, I just want to say, sort of, from my own independent perspective, but I know several members of the project agree with me. I think, the speculative potential of Litecoin is severely unrecognized in the context of that. It is, one of the most highly adopted cryptocurrencies for actual real world use. And there are very good reasons why. That comes with speed and low fees, brand name recognition, security, the safety model for it, and the decentralization, as you mentioned. I've been in a few sort of Twitter spaces with Litecoin Underground and a few others, and I know that perhaps members of the Litecoin community, perhaps the speculators, may be not necessarily happy with the speculative performance of Litecoin, but I think it's just, I think it's a powder keg that's waiting to explode. I think when the ETFs do eventually arrive to Litecoin, I think they're going to be very favorable, because I personally think, from a speculative point of view, if I'm looking and going, what is actually being used? Because what provides convenience? Because I'm a great believer in the idea that convenience is value, because whatever convenience saves time, whatever saves time creates convenience. Therefore, time is money. Therefore, convenience is value. So Litecoin as a payments modality is very convenient, and I think that is a very under-recognized fact amongst the broader speculative community. So I think, just want to sort of light the way and say, I think there's huge potential for growth, within the Litecoin ecosystem in the years moving forward. I don't think that can be underrepresented enough.
Yeah, thank you for saying that too. I appreciate that, and I think it's great that you recognize that, and that we're seeing this. Price aside, which let's be real, we're all a little bit frustrated, because if you look at everything that's been happening, I'd argue the price should be significantly higher than where it's at. But that said, like almost every other metric continues to grow. And it'd be concerning if that wasn't the case, but it couldn't be further from the opposite. And over $1 billion in USD value sent a day. I mean, almost every single metric suggests, uh, incredibly positive movement and adoption, with the exception of price, which, as we know, it doesn't always follow. Initially, usually price will ultimately, value will ultimately catch up with price. I do think it's been highly underrated. I think part of that also is because there's a lot of excitement around things like ordinals and NFTs and art and things like that. But when it comes to the idea of crypto being used as a monetary exchange, like money, I don't think that in itself is inherently like that exciting when you talk about it. Just versus being able to do smart contracts and other types of things, which, by the way, we're seeing other types of things being adopted on Litecoin, I should say. But from a value standpoint, it in the long term, it's arguably one of the largest use case that we can have with crypto is the use of money, and I think it's just a matter of time before the value of this network and what it provides, sort of becomes more reality for more people, I think. So.
Absolutely. And how it's positioned for the future. And we see that in the number of transactions that take place, recently hitting, there were days that we were day after day over 1 million transactions in one day in 24 hours. And there's blockchains that, have large communities, and, they're in the top 10, and the number of transactions they were doing were less than 100,000. So it's very, very interesting to see, how this will evolve in the future. Cap, do we want to hint at the competition?
Yes, I was just thinking, and just getting to that. Thank you for bringing that up. Kind of to celebrate, just for those listening, and pass the word around, and we're promoting this at the minute to kind of celebrate the fact that we've made those first steps of MWeb adoption for Litecoin into our DEX. We have launched a competition, essentially a prize giveaway for something that is highly collectible and highly rare. We're talking about physical Litecoins. So it's a special collection that was released in 2013. There were about, I believe, only 2,000 of these ever minted. And I'm just kind of getting up the details for it now. But basically, it was the so basically, we've had a very kind benefactor who's long time in cryptocurrency, has been a supporter of both Litecoin and the particle and basic swap ecosystems, and he happens to have around 20 of these. So over the next sort of 10 weeks, we're sort of doing a prize giveaway, 2 of these. Now, just to kind of talk you through them, they're physical Litecoins. They contain 1 Litecoin each. They are the Leilana 1 Litecoin first run bullions. Now, then they're not bullion in the sense of gold and and silver, but they're certainly bullion in the sense that they're very special, very rare. I would call these some of the rarest physical real-world NFTs imaginable. And as I mentioned, only 2,000 minted. Each coin contains one Litecoin. The private key under a peelable layer. It comes in its own protective coin capsule. And the first bits, we posted some images up in some of our promotional material for this, but we've obscured some of the first bits on the images for the added security. We've seen these going for sale for about $1,000 a piece on eBay at times. So, they are quite valuable. And as I said, we have 20 of them, and we are giving two, we're giving two every week for 10 weeks. Now, if you see any tweets related to this competition from either the Basic Swap or Particle threads, basically what you got to do is retweet that tweet because it's a competition. We want people to know about it. And then essentially go to the Particle website, particle.io, particl.io, download, install the marketplace, and put a bid on a physical Litecoin. If you go through all of these steps, you will be entered into a draw. Every week, we will pick a winner at random from this draw, and we will notify you. You'll need to give us an address to send it to as part of this. We will then, physically post those, those really vintage coins across to you. So I think this is a really sort of special opportunity for people who have been in the Litecoin community for a long time, and indeed cryptocurrency as a whole, for real collectors and people who truly value the history of this space. I think this is a real opportunity to literally own physically a part of it, and that's the competition, and that's hopefully to just to say thank you for what thank you to the Litecoin community for what you've done and what you are doing. Thank you for sort of inviting us to Nashville, Tennessee to sort of present our work with Basic Swap, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you guys going forward. This is our way of saying thank you. So keep an eye out for those tweets. Real piece of history there waiting to be won. And it's not just the one. You're going to get 2 opportunities every week for the next 10. So that's our way of saying thank you very much, guys.
Fantastic. Yeah, so be sure to follow Basic Swap Dex and keep an eye out for that. I'm sure we'll be sharing it as well. You might want to keep 1 or 2 for Nashville. Maybe there's something we can do there with a little prize or something like that. So I think we'll start to wrap it up. This was fantastic. We've shared the announcement. If you want to check out and learn more about what it is that has been launched, there's a tweet out there from Basic Swap Dex and the foundation. There's a little write-up about it. You'll probably hear more about it as it evolves, and be sure to follow everybody so you can learn more about the competition. So a big thank you to you, Dr. Cap and Alan, for being here today, and we're looking forward to going to Tennessee.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks to you both.
Thank you, Jay, and thanks, Alan.